Well, hello. Welcome to Crescent City, California. My name is Eric, and I am currently traveling all over the United States for 1 year. I started in Tampa, Florida on November 1st, 2021, and today marks 6 months to the day, May 1st, 2022, that I left home to pack everything into a 6-foot teardrop trailer and travel the entire country, including Alaska, for the next year. And I am about 20 minutes from the Oregon border and very, very excited to get north to Oregon and Washington. I've never been to Oregon before, and I've never been to this part of California before. So I've been up here for about 2 weeks roughly. I jumped on Highway 1 down in Carmel, California, and I took it all the way up to the Redwood National Park. And in the next day or two, I'm going to be taking the road over to a place called Mount Shasta in California, which was highly recommended to me before I crossed into Oregon and go to Glacier National Park. So that's kind of like my projected path. So I like to do these update videos every 3 months. It gives everyone a good idea of where I've been, kind of where I'm headed, and not just the physical journey, not where my car has been, and not what I've seen, but really just more of the mental journey. It is just me out here all alone, traveling the entire country. And so obviously a lot of thoughts go through your mind, and you go through different emotional states just like any other kind of life. And a lot has happened in the past 3 months since I made my first 3-month update video. I think I was in Arizona, and then I crossed into Southern California for a little bit. I went to San Diego, I went to Newport Beach, and I went to Joshua Tree before I actually came back up and went to Las Vegas. And Las Vegas, I went to Valley of Fire State Park, saw Hoover Dam, and I think it was called Red Rock Canyon. It was a conservation area. And then I came back into California, did Death Valley, drove all the way up the east side of the Sierra Mountains into Lake Tahoe. I dipped into Reno for the day. I didn't like Reno at all. Then after Reno, I went over to a place called Clear Lake, California to see a friend. And then from Clear Lake, California, since it was still kind of cold at that moment, I turned south and saw a friend in San Jose, California. And basically from San Jose, California, I have started coming back north a little bit. So that's kind of like my physical journey and where I've been. But now really, like I said, I want to just mention kind of what I'm kind of thinking as I get on the road and just kind of process what all I'm seeing and what all I'm experiencing. Well, first off, my last video, I really talked about how much I just absolutely love this lifestyle and how I had budgeted myself to do this for a year, and that is still my intended goal, is to go for a whole entire year. I quit my job to do this, so I have no income. I'm just living off saved up money right now and traveling the country, and I feel extremely fortunate to do that. And in my last video, I talked about possibly looking at jobs to start to sustain this lifestyle for longer than a year. I'm hoping to do this for hopefully maybe a couple years. I'm not really sure. I think if that was to happen, not only would I have to find a job, but I would probably update my rig. Living in a teardrop is a little bit cumbersome at times. Obviously, it's a much smaller setup. I would upgrade from the teardrop to something a little bit bigger. The teardrop is great. I do like it. It has a lot of great things going for it. For starters, I can take it most places that my car can go. There's not a lot of places that I can't go. I often sometimes think about someone who might be in a RV or a Class A or Class C motorhome, and I think, wow, you may not be able to experience something I'm experiencing right now because you couldn't get your rig up this road or into this area where I'm at. I know cities would obviously be a lot harder to navigate through, and I do have to go to cities quite sometimes to get supplies and things like that, and sometimes I have to stay in cities because there's no other options around to sleep in. So the Teardrop has a lot of things going for it. Also, there's been times when I have had to just unhitch it and just take the car out for the day. So I had to do that actually the past 2 days in Redwood National Park. There's a lot of trails that don't allow a RV or anything, or a trailer or anything, to get down the road. So I asked the ranger where I could park the trailer, and he said, just park it down at this trailhead here. You'll be fine for the day. And then you can just take your car around and go to all the trails you want to go to. So I did that, and that was really convenient. So the Teardrop is great for those things, but I also think a lot of times about what would be better if I was doing this for a long time, so for a longer period of time than a year. So one of those things is cooking. Right now I have to cook everything outside, which is fine. But I've been very fortunate and not dealt with a lot of inclement weather, such as rain or maybe snow, and I've had to cook a meal out in that, because if it's pouring down rain for 2 or 3 days, well, obviously I have to make food, and it's a little hard to make food in the pouring down rain. So I know that that's going to be cumbersome going forward. I have like a big tarp I can put over the back of the galley area, but that'd just be another thing, trying to set up a tarp. If it's windy, when it usually is when it's raining, that's going to be a whole thing. So anyways, I'm ranting. So I think about often, if I do upgrade, what would I upgrade to, right? Would I upgrade to a bigger trailer and something bigger to pull it with? The answer is, for me, I would probably definitely look at the van life. So van life has a lot of things going for it. They can get outfitted with a full bed, a full little kitchen, an actual shower inside. And I love that everything is self-contained. And so that way you can just take your entire home with you wherever. And on the smaller vans, you could absolutely take them up most of these trails that I've been on. I don't see why that would be very cumbersome at all. So I definitely will look at a van, should this be a life that I prolong for going for a year, further than a year. But that's just something I'm thinking about in the long term. The other thing I think about a lot of times is really just where would I live if I didn't do this long term, right? Because one of the things I talked about in my last video was that I liked Florida, but I didn't really feel like Florida has ever been my home. I love the warm sunshine, I love the beaches, but for some reason, the cities I was living in, which was Jacksonville and Tampa most of the time, they just never really felt like home to me. And so I often, when I'm out here on the road and I pass by some of these little towns, I almost always ask myself, could I live here? Could I see myself living here long term? Just as a hypothetical scenario, just to see how I would answer it, and just to see if I really feel like Tampa or Jacksonville, or really just the other parts of Florida, if they're any better than that. And I gotta tell you, most of the time, I come back to just saying, I don't think this town that I'm in right now is any better than the towns I used to live in back home in Florida. Tampa had actually quite a lot going for it, for me, for what I like to do. It had a lot. Obviously, it has the beaches. I love the beaches. I have a paddleboard. I love to do that. I don't have a kayak, but I do like to kayak when I get an opportunity. I like to bike ride. I used to like to run. I like to play disc golf. I like to do outdoor activities. And all those are obviously easy to do in the Sunshine State, where it's warm almost all the time. And I think that's probably what I miss the most, is just having all around sunshine, well, all around warmth. It rains there a lot, but all around warmth, and not really having to deal with cold temperatures. I prefer shorts, I prefer tank tops, I prefer sandals if I can. So I do miss that. The good news is it's now May, and the summer months are approaching, and I will deal with warmer climate, warmer temperatures. However, I'm also headed further north, so I'm gonna get a little of both. I know nighttime will be cool, but maybe daytime might be hot. So I think the biggest thing that I've noticed being on the road is just really how much I value having connections with other people. Since I've been on the road, I've been very fortunate, and I've seen some old friends that I haven't seen in a very long time. Some of them as far back as 20 years, and some of them as far back as 10 years. But all of them have been great to reconnect and see again. That has been so amazing to me. But also just meeting some of the new people I've met. I've met fellow travelers who are in the same kind of lifestyle. They travel all the time, and they may live in an RV or a motorhome or anything like their own. And I just think that's absolutely been amazing to hear their story. And everybody's got something a little bit different of what makes them get out here. Some people do it because they just can never live in a house. So I've met people doing this as long as 5 years, I think was the longest that I've met. And I've met someone like myself. I've just been doing it for 6 months now, and I'm just doing it just recreationally, just because I wanted to see the country. Other people are doing it because they're at a crossroads in their life and they wanted to make a change, and they were getting out of a divorce, or they were, dealing with some other big thing going on in their life, and so they just needed a change, and so they could jump on the road to see what would happen. So that's been amazing. And I just really value being able to connect with those people on all levels, whether it's someone new that I've just met or someone that I've known for a really long time. So I really do value that. Well, that's really it for today. I just like to do these little check-in videos every 3 months, just to say where I've been, where I'm headed, and kind of what I'm thinking about. I'll do another one in 3 months when I'm at 9 months, and I'll do one at the very end when I'm a year in. And it'll be interesting to see in a year if I go back to Florida, back to home. That's the original plan. Or do I continue going? Do I pick up some work along the road and do this lifestyle longer than a year? Don't know. We'll see what happens. Right now, I'm just gonna sit here, watch the ocean for a little bit, and just enjoy. Thanks for escaping normal life with me.